Hi there, boys and girls. It's me. I'm back again to tell you another little story. Now, there are so many stories to be told. There are literally millions of them. But believe it or not, there's really only 7 basic plots to any story. And all the stories all come from those 7 plots. But the story I'm going to tell you today is a Greek myth. And it's about a little girl called Anna. And Anna lived in a village in Greece, and it was a beautiful place. But there were 1 or 2 strange things about that village that used to bring people to see it, just to see what these things were and how they could be and how could they be explained away, because they were a mystery. It was a beautiful sunny island that she lived on in Greece, and she lived in a village at the top of that island. And the track up to the island was a sand track. But every now and again, there would be a huge puddle, and nobody could understand where this water was coming from, because it hardly ever rained there, and it was always a beautiful, dry, sunny day, but these puddles just kept appearing. So it brought quite a lot of visitors, and one of the visitors that came to the village came along with her husband, who was looking to see what this, mystery was, where this water was coming from, because he was some kind of engineer, and he wanted to figure this out. And while he was doing that, she had been told to visit the house of Anna, who by this time was now a teenager. And apparently, this girl could weave tapestries so beautiful that they were like as if they could spring to life at any minute. The characters in these tapestries looked so real. And if it was animals, they looked so real. And beautiful skyline, just fantastic. And this woman went to see Anna and her tapestries. But she was taken aback when she met this girl. It was a real disappointment to her, because although this girl was beautiful, and she was stunningly beautiful, and obviously very talented because she could weave these fantastic tapestries, she was not a pleasant young woman. In fact, she was anything but. She was very discourteous, impolite, and rude. And when the lady spoke to her and introduced herself and said, "I'd like to see your tapestries," she said, "Why, are you thinking of buying one?" And the woman was quite taken aback at that. And she said, "Well, I might do if I see one that I like." "What do you mean if you see one that you like? You'll like all of them. My tapestries are the best that there has ever been. There's nobody." And then she made a statement that she wished she had never said. It came back to haunt her. "Nobody in this world or the next can better my tapestries." Well, you know what Greek gods are like. They don't like to be crossed, and they certainly don't like to be insulted. And the Greek gods heard this, and they were furious. And one of them said, "That girl needs to be taught a lesson." And the one who said this was Athena. And Athena happened to be a brilliant weaver herself. She says, "I need to teach that girl a lesson." And the woman was so disappointed in that young girl, the woman who'd come to see the tapestries, that even although she loved them, she wouldn't buy one. She didn't want to buy one. She didn't want to give that girl anything. She was so rude and horrible. She felt she didn't deserve it. And she left, empty-handed. And she wondered how many other people had done that. And this girl was living in quite poor conditions. She probably could have been much better off had she been a bit more pleasant and let people buy her tapestries without being rude and obnoxious to them. Anyway, the next person that visited Anna to see her tapestries was an old lady. And she was quite infirm. She couldn't walk very well. And she was slow. And Anna had no patience with her. When she went to the door, she said, "What do you want?" And the old lady said, "Well, I've come to see your tapestries." And Anna said, "Well, I'm very busy doing another one. And you don't look to me as if you could afford to buy one of my tapestries. So I don't think I should even let you see them." And the old lady said, "Well, It would mean a great deal to me to see those tapestries, because everybody's told me how wonderful they are. And I want to be able to go away and tell more people how wonderful they are. And then maybe they will come and buy your tapestries. And Anna thought about that for a minute. She thought, well, maybe that's a good idea. Yeah, I'll let her in. So the old lady came in, and the walls were lined with these beautiful tapestries. They were just stunning. And if truth be told, Anna didn't really want to sell any of these tapestries. She wanted to keep them because they were so perfect, or so she thought. But the old lady said, yes, I believe you think you are the best weaver that there's ever been. And Anna said, well, of course I am. Have you ever seen anything to beat this? And the old lady said, well, yes, I have actually. My own tapestries would take a bit of beating. Anna looked at her and she said, you silly old woman, your fingers are all bent. You probably can't even sew properly at all now. And your eyesight's not going to be very good. I don't believe for 1 minute that your tapestries could be better than mine. I don't think they could equal mine. I don't think they could come anywhere near being as good as mine. And she got very, on her high horse. And the next minute, the old lady pulled off her cloak, and who should be standing there in front of her but the goddess Athena. Anna got such a shock because she recognised her immediately. The gods were everywhere to be seen, even in her little village. Everywhere you went, there would be statues of the gods, and everybody knew who was who and what they were the gods of. And she suddenly realised she was in deep trouble. And she apologised and she said, I'm so sorry, I didn't know it was you. And Athena said, obviously. She said, but I'm going to challenge you. I'm going to challenge you to see who's the best weaver between the two of us. And what would you like me to weave? Said Anna. She said, I'd like you to weave a picture of the gods as you see them. Now, although she should have learned a lesson by what had just happened, Athena was obviously not that bright, because what she did was she made a tapestry of the gods, and it was absolutely stunning. It was incredible. And Athena, at the same time, over the next 2 or 3 days, they met up together and they compared each other's tapestries, and Athena's tapestry was exquisite. It was absolutely beautiful. But there was just something that gave the edge to Anna's. But that something wasn't particularly nice, because what she had done was she had depicted the gods looking strange. She had given Zeus horns, and she had given all of them distorted features like fangs or a huge nose or sticky out ears that were pointed, and she made them all look rather silly. But nevertheless, this cartoon image, if you like, on the tapestry was incredibly well done. And Athena had to admit to herself that quite possibly this girl's weaving could be better than hers. But that wasn't really what she was annoyed about. What she was annoyed about was how rude and horrible this girl was. And to think that she could get away with insulting the gods, well, that was something else. So she said to her, I do believe that you probably are the best weaver that there's ever been, Anna. But you are also the rudest, the most disrespectful, the most unpleasant young woman I have ever come across. And if you think for 1 minute that you can insult the gods of this country and not be punished for it, you can think again. Now, you've got 2 gifts. You've got your beauty and you've got your weaving. And I am going to take one of those gifts away from you. And Anna was horrified. No, please, I'm so sorry. I'll never do it again. I'll be nicer, I promise. I'll be nicer. I'll be a better person. Athena said, I'm sorry, it's too late. And I've already made up my mind which one of those gifts I'm going to take. I'm going to take your beauty, because you're going to need your weaving skills. And she took her hand and she put it on Anna's head and she started to push down. And Anna literally disappeared as she was being pushed until she became just a little black blob on the floor. With one finger, Athena pressed her back and out sprang 8 hairy legs. And she put her hand here and out sprang 2 huge eyes. Athena had created the first ever spider. And she said to Anna, now you can use your weaving skills to weave yourself a home. In that dark corner over there, you will hide, because when people see you, they will be horrified because you are the ugliest creature that has ever been made. And I am going to call you Anansi. And that's the real word for a spider. Arachne is actually the Latin name, I think it is, but everybody knows that Anansi was the first spider. And that was how that girl was punished, for being so horrible, for being so rude, and for not appreciating the gift that the gods had given her. Thank you.